Hello and welcome to CR Wrestling Commentary. Today, I and or we, depending upon if Cedra wants anything to say, because she said she was curious about this, answering viewer questions, and this will be on thoughts on why the elite AEW do not listen to the veterans. Actually, it's kind of why nobody listens to the veterans. This was asked by Zemo times 2 like a while ago, but being extremely busy, sick, tired, and then what I did for since the 21st of December, I straight up enjoyed Cedra's vacation from work, watching TV series, movies, messing with Christmas gifts she got me, and enjoying, what she got our daughter, and she was just enjoying us opening the presents and being happy. I mean, honestly, from December 21st until January 2nd, I've been good. I've been happy. And then reality got to kick back in, getting back into listening to stuff and so so just to jump right in for those that stuck around for a minute and 30 seconds, let's get right into this. So why thoughts on why the elite do not listen to the veterans? And honestly, he also asked, why don't they? Why do they not? Rationally speaking, how is life supposed to go? People decide to delineate from that path. You've got those that come before you that have paved the way, broke the stones and dug out the dirt and gotten through those hills, mountains, and carved out the valleys so you could have a safer, easier path, and that's the point. Your parents put in the work, you get in some work, and you keep, digging along. It gets easier and easier and easier. That's supposed to be the idea of it. But when it comes to wrestling, and I'm using metaphors, what happened on this path is some Yahoo or group of Yahoos decided, I see the path before me. And while that path is a lot easier and whatnot, we are yet our own. And, we want people to be happy. And, wrestling attendance, it drops. So metaphorically, you see the beaten path, you see how it's easier, but you say, let's veer off over here. Like, this has nothing to do with that path, and it don't seem like it's going to work too well for us. Maybe we should find a way to do what they're doing, but make it better. And they say, nope, we're going to go over there. We're going to go over here and just dig this out, and, but there are boulders and stuff that's going to collapse and things like that. I don't worry about it. Let's just do it. Those old people don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they're doing. They did what we did too. So yeah, that metaphorically, that's what happened. Historically, what did happen? Truth be told, professional wrestling, was it real? At one point, yes, it was. People kept getting hurt. There was no one to wrestle. They were hurt. You have to learn to work it. You learn to work it. The wrestlers stay safe, but yet the audience have to have the suspension of belief. They have to believe what they see is true. So therefore, what do? Sometimes you invite an audience member up there and you mess them up. Like, this is real. You let them see a certain wrestler work out and stuff. Hey, the crowd wants to see stuff. The wrestlers get close and they beat the hell out of each other, more or less legit hits, so they can hear the fist or the forearm slamming onto the meat and stuff. It's, what you do. You keep them believing that it's real. You keep their interest. It's what you do. That's how you keep butts in seats, money in pockets. People get into wrestling, they're going to destroy themselves on the rings, the aprons, the floor. So what's the idea? Compensation. Without money, what compensation is there? You know, you're not going to get some epic retirement. They don't do that. So when you get people like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair, Lou Thez, you know, when you get Wahoo McDaniel, you get all these people from back in the day, you know, Hans Hackenschmidt. You know, you get all these people. If you're hearing that buzzing, it's the neighbors. I don't know what they're doing. Brian Last will be going through this. Oh, he's over there blowing leaves. Brian Last gonna be going through this in spring, summer, and it's always funny to hear him be angry at his neighbor. In any case, I don't know if these microphones are really picking that up though. We hear it loud and clear.
Yeah, it's very loud.
So all these people that's paved a way, they had a certain style, a genre, a way that they did things. Yeah, you can get your little tiny moments of silly, but only when it's allotted. You take it when and where you can, because the fans shouldn't just see a plain old bloodfest. They need to see something that's going to kind of make them laugh a little bit. It's a part of the show. And over time, the veterans, the more current veterans, actually changed from Lou Thesz's style and Carl Gotch's style and all that. You know, it went from a 2 out of 3 fall match that lasted 1 to 2 hours. You only get three matches a show, so you're there all night. You go from that to the shorter matches, and people at first weren't too happy about that, but they adjusted, because then you got storylines instead of just people beating each other up in the ring. You know, back in the day, it's out there, and I think I put it up here at some point. Yeah, a pinfall where the person punched the guy in the gut on the first 2 count and then not on the third.
Yeah, man, I can get down with that.
You know, so
stay down.
Yeah, punch him in the gut. Pap on the 1, 2. No hook of the leg. It's just you done got beaten your ribs. So yeah, and you know, things like that. And so then you know, there are different styles. You know, well, why would you want to do when you go for the pin, they should be done. That's how it was. And now it's like, how about if they kick out? And everyone's like, whoa! It's how you get a new pop for the crowd, a new excitement, a new thing. You know, each generation does something different. There's just a problem. It went from subtle change to epic change. It went from one style to whoop, another. Absolute switch. No time to really deal with it. Why? Because while there were still the people doing what they do, there was a little monster growing on the independent scene. A little monster called "Let's listen to the fans and make them smile" monster. People,
a large amount of fans are trolls, if you didn't know.
Epic trolls. And they won. That's the monster. Not only, look, I'm building this up so that the question can be properly answered. Okay, that's all I'm doing. So while you got UWF, NWA, AWA, and other territories that are gruff and brutal and whatnot, you've got Triple WF, ultimately WWF, and they're bright. Their clothing are bright. The arena's bright. You know, when they do the whole, they're going to throw a punch or a kick, it is like severely shown. They don't get into downright what a fight would be. They don't really get into it. But they do things that make sense. It's just so almost unbelievable. And they had great fan followings and things like that. Once it became WWF, it started getting a little more, I'm going to say, controlled. And it was still okay. I wasn't a thorough fan of it. It was the same old, and it was boring. You know, just like NWA, you've got your, you know, the superstar versus the enhancement wrestler, and so you just gonna go back to work, versus the enhancement wrestler, and you just get tired of seeing the same old thing. But then you learn, hey, you know, just building up this guy, letting you know what they can do, and so that's cool. It's just, for me, it was boring. On the independent scene, and that's why there's a difference, because back in the territories were an independent. But then there were, I guess, what Cornette and Murdoch and others would call the mud shows or outlaw mud shows or whatnot. And those are the ones that are not professionally ran. They just, here's a wrestler and we're going to just do some stuff and move on with it. And those are the ones that started to aid in messing things up. But they didn't get much attraction. They really didn't. They would still get the very low numbers, and because people see it and just walk out of those arenas. Well, bars or barns or certain side of gas stations or beside someone's home. And they weren't backyard wrestling. It was actual professional wrestling rings. But what they did, people just were not into it. And so what happened is the WWF, they decided we're going to just what they call, you know, hot shotting it and stuff here and there. That is basically when the Attitude Era, you know, started. They're going to, you know, let's put veteran against veteran. Well, top star against top star. Let's put them in speaking roles almost all the time. And slowly but surely, let's make sure that these speaking roles take over the wrestling roles. It used to be there's a match, something happens, someone speaks for a minute or two, then there's another match. Then it turned into what the WWF turned it into was there's a lot of talking and we're going to interrupt that with a match. That's what they did. They didn't care about the matches. They didn't care about too much. They just, what was the drama? What was the talk? That's what it was. And the fans were smart to it. And only on WWF/E did you get signs like this is the greatest drama or the greatest soap opera. You got those posters, those little cards put up there by fans. You didn't get that, you know, when it came to Nitro and things like that, you know. And then, you know, and then the fans exposing everything. It's really Tuesday, you know. I thought those were funny. I'm like, okay, I didn't really care about that. That's a nitpick. So ultimately, on the independent scene, when the territories get gobbled up by the North, by by Vince McMahon, WWF/E, there's a void. When there are no territories, there is a void. And people in the territories enjoyed their wrestling. They could go and see that stuff. But now all they got is syndicated TV of WWF and E, you know, depending upon, you know, the point in. You know, once you get sued by the World Wildlife Fund, then you lose your World Wrestling Federation, even though it's two different things. But you're confusing the WWF, and so, hey, nothing would have happened if it stayed Triple WF, you know. But then again, World Wide Web, I don't know what would have happened. So you get this, right? I hope you're still with me. I know we're 14 minutes in, but you know, I owe this because I wasn't going to do any other commentary, you know, on anything until I got this done. Because, you know, I told Zimbo times too I was going to do this. I wasn't going to do anything else until I got this out the way first. That's the best I was going to honor it, you know. Other than doing my show, my Wrestle Gaming show, I was going to do this first. So once you get this going and you got this formula and you've got no territories, you got no other wrestling in the Midwest, in the Southeast, once you kill the wrestling there, people are like, what do we do? But all they got, Ultimate Warrior, run to the ring, hype, shake the ropes, do some clapping clotheslines, military press, body splash. You get the wrestlers that come in and just kind of take a break, really. You don't get a chance to see something of about 9 minutes or so. Everything is roughly within 2 to 3 minutes. Maybe 6 at a top if they gotta do more. That's what normally happens. And then the independent territory, well, those mud shows, those outlaw shows that normally people just kind of turn their nose up to and walk away from, it's all they got. It's all they got. And then while WWE decides that they're going to just Vince Russo everything, while that does bode well for wrestlers in one light of getting exposure and having something to do, and the fans can be a part of the ones that normally would not be seen or heard from, it buries the art of professional wrestling. So the drama builds, but the wrestling crumbles. The people say, I'm tired of this. I want to see different moves. I want to see different people. I want to see some crazy antics. And the outlaw people, the mud show people, they're fans too, without any industry training. So without that industry training, those people want to kind of mimic what they see on TV, but they don't know how to really do anything else. And a majority of them are self-trained. And some are just, they hear the whole thing from wrestlers saying, look, you just put on some tights and boots and you're a wrestler. So they hear that. They don't think about what's said after that. They just say, well, tights and the boots, I get in the ring and I'm a wrestler. I just want to do what I do. I want to see blood and guts. I want to see that hardcore stuff because that's what they saw with the territories, the blood, the violence, with things like that. They just don't know how it was done. So that's all they do. And the people are like, whoa, this is crazy. It's bloody. This is the best thing I've ever seen, but it's only 20 to 50 people. And that's the issue. To 20 to 50 people. And then that's all that they got. Midwest, Southeast, some in the far West, California and whatnot. It's just, that's all they got. So you've got, the Vince McMahon style, which is, in truth, comic book. It's a comic book when it comes to Vince McMahon and what he likes. It's a kid in the candy store. I don't want the wrestling. I want the drama. I want the fun. I want the laughs. This will be fun to see, so let's do this. This will be fun to see, let's do that. Without thinking, what psychology is going to keep this industry going? Now he's got carte blanche because there's no competition. So without competition, you just get people doing random stuff. And when you are an outlaw person, when you're an absolute indie without true industry training from the days of yore, you see a wicked clothesline, a boot kick, a knee strike that in, how can I say, Jim Ross terminology, turns someone inside out. And when they see that and the crowd is like, whoa, well, that's the pop they want. And the crowd's like, look, I want to see that. And they say it. They shout it. See, the indie shows are so small, you can hear those individual people talking, shouting. You want to get him with a clothesline, hit him with the chair, do this, do that, do what I would like to see. How you going to pay the bills if you don't please the fans. So the psychology is please the fans. You're a fan. You know what you want to see. They want to see it. Then do it. Circular logic. That's what it is. Circular logic. You want a good example of it? Someone says wrestling is fake. And you ask, why is wrestling fake? Because this person told me wrestling is fake. So wrestling is fake. It's like, well, wait. What if that person is wrong? Nope. Wrestling is fake. Everyone says it. This person told me, so wrestling is fake. And that's it. Could you change their mind? No. Not going to happen. So what happens when that circular logic gets fed and pushed? Because the indie people, wrestling's fake. While they cut themselves up poorly. While they slam each other basically for real. You know, and I've seen body slams where the feet are still in the air and the arms are all kind of messed up looking. And they almost hit their head or sometimes smack their head on the floor or the ring mat. I've seen it. I've been body slammed before. Body slammed. You know, it was at work. You know, hey, let me see if I can do this. Okay. I'd seen so many body slams on wrestling. I just knew what to do. It was almost an instinct. No training or nothing. You know, he crotches me, gets me over my shoulder. I push up as he lifts. I get my hand on his thigh. He pushes pelvic area forward so I can fall, and he drops me down on my back. I land with my feet flat, my arms right out, flat, head up. The sound was loud. It was on the gym floor, a gym floor. He didn't slam me from up high. It was relatively low. I was twice his weight. But the sound, I could hear it echo and reverberate. But I felt nothing. That's the truth. I felt nothing. And I laid there almost like I was stunned, but I was thinking, there's no pain. There's nothing. But when I watch these shows, they're getting slammed awkwardly on their hip. They get slammed. Some get body slammed on their shoulder. Some get body slammed almost on their neck. I see this. They don't care because the crowd says, you did that clothesline. It looked sick. Yes. You did that knee strike. It looked sick. Yes. What a brain buster. Oh, he dropped him from the top rope onto the top turnbuckle. Oh my goodness. What a brain buster. It's sick. It's awesome. Yes, we want more. And then you got some indie people out there doing nothing but legit finishers because they look sick. And so you got the wrestlers doing a loop and the crowd saying, do it more. Do it more. And then when the crowd gets bored because they know what's going to happen, they know how it's going to be, crowd size just shrink because they're not going to show up for that crap. And they know it's crap. Some of them, as Cedra said earlier before she left to go back to work, they're trolls. They're shouting, let me see this. Cut them open. Hit them with the chair. So these indie people have got 5 and 8 and sometimes 10 years doing this. And so when shows do come up, when someone says, I want to do a legit professional wrestling show, this is the pick of the litter that they got. That's it. It's the pick of the litter. And that's what they work with. So you got people that watched the Attitude Era, that grew up also on that, but then trying to mimic it in a piss poor way. Trying to reclaim some of the NWA and other territory beatdowns and bloodbaths that they saw without thinking about what they really saw. Without thinking, wait a minute, like for me personally, if I were to get into that and someone's like, yeah, man, we're going to go out there, we're going to bleed. I'm like, wait, for what? For who? That's just me because I don't, personally speaking, I do not want to be cut open on a ring mat that probably hasn't been washed in a week or a month. At least replace the damn thing. So I'm going to be apprehensive. That's just me. When a wrestler gets done, they shower. There's a reason why they shower. The ring mat isn't great. I smelled a ring mat up close maybe twice. No. No. No, not happening. If I am going to get cut open, it must be by accident, or it's going to be for some kind of payoff. And that's before I knew anything about professional wrestling. This is before all the inside talk, shoot interviews, and all that. This is like back in like the mid 90s. This is before all of that stuff came out. So people today that work those independent mud show scenes get popular, self-trained, barely trained, or not trained. Or trained and then, yeah, it's good that you learn from this veteran. Now let's undo all that. You learn this way, you learn that way, and that's good. But here we do it this way. And the first time I heard about that was, well, WWE. Hugh Morris and others. They would say, look, you want to work that crazy style or do this? Here we do it differently. We do a headlock different. We do an arm drag different. You know, your style must be completely different. Yeah, you know how to wrestle, and that's great, but we're going to change all that up. So that's what, when people go back into training for a company, that's what they're doing. Sometimes before they even get into that company, like New Japan, you're going to work New Japan. You've been here in the States all the time doing mud shows. You're going to go there. They're going to train your ass up for about a month or so. Then you can come out. It takes a special case for people to just show up and then not be vetted and just get in the ring and hope. And those usually turn out to be some trash matches. Right now, All Elite Wrestling was supposed to be the competition to WWE. Okay? It was supposed to be. They're not going to do the hot shotting. They're not going to do the mud show. They're not going to do none of that. It's going to be competition. Wins and losses matter and all this and that. Yeah. Okay, they didn't deliver on that. Okay. Why not? Because they are a group of, honestly, Kenny Omega called it out, nepotism, grandfathered in, things like that. That's why Cornette and Brian Last call it all friends wrestling. That's why Jim Ross calls it bullshit and garbage wrestling, and he works there. Keep that in mind about Jim Ross. He works there, and he's like, damn, y'all. It ain't like Jim Ross needs the money because he don't. He simply don't. But he loves commentating. He loves professional wrestling. So you got Jim Ross, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Diamond Dallas Page, Jerry Lynn. You've got Awesome Kong. You got so many more in there. Jake Roberts. Come on. And let's say younger, but should know better. Lance Archer. You know, these Taz. You've got people that know better, raised better in professional wrestling. And so you think that they're not offering some form of advice? If you think about Team Taz, look at who he chose as if he chose it. Those people know what they're doing. They've got a semblance of it. Those are people that should have been future stars if wrestling wasn't destroyed. But then you've got the elite. You've got the Young Bucks. You've got Kenny Omega. You've got Cody Rhodes, of all people, should know better. His matches are better than theirs by far. But as a company, well, I'm sure it was The Bucks say, I'll run the tag team division this way. Kenny Omega's like, I'll run international business this way. And Cody said, my matches are going to be legit looking. But Cody is working with people that he should not be working with to get that done. Because everyone he's working with, the others have hired. And he's probably hired a couple here or there. Brandy's probably hired a couple here or there. Tony Khan is saying, yeah, go ahead and do it. They've got carte blanche. And they are bringing in people that have been for 5, 8, 10 years in the outlaw scene, working at little dive areas and not learning anything, not truthfully, not learning anything at all about the wrestling business. The beaten path, they didn't care. And then it got to the point they even lost it. They didn't even know anymore. There was no path to see. They went away from that wide swath leading through that epic mountain with all the tools available to get through it with no problem. And to make sure that the work stays consistent. They avoided that. They dropped it and they said, we're going to branch off into this river where there's barely anybody, barely any help. And every enemy that surrounds you screams at you to do one thing or the other. And here's the thing. You can listen to the enemy, or you can have nobody shouting at you at all. And they said, well, might as well just listen to the enemy. Because pro wrestling has tons of enemies. And they're the trolls. And these people listen to the trolls. And then the fans who don't know one thing or another dictated the pace and style of these wrestlers, these so-called wrestlers. And now these wrestlers stuck in their way, don't want to change, don't care to learn, because they think they know it all, because they got them this far and it hasn't. It was just good enough. And they're in front of people that don't know any better, that's dictating what they do. Because they all got the same story, don't they? Every one of these little mud show type people, these indie type people, they got the same story of, why do you do what you do in the ring? What made you do this? Oh man, it was fun. It made the crowd pop. It got a good laugh. It's all the same. It's never about what put fans in seats. It's never about what makes sense. It's never about protecting yourself. The first thing I ever heard about professional wrestling was this wrestler said, you give somebody your body, your very self, and they have to protect it while they look good and look like they're hurting you. But they got to protect you. You are entrusting them to not kill you in that ring. And without proper training and without learning how to do proper angles, storylines, the match pushes the story. The talking sets up the next match. They don't do any of that. So you get what you got now. It makes no sense of how it is ran. It makes no sense, meaning, this is fun, let's do this. Well, shouldn't it lead into something next week? I guess, but next week we're going to do this. It's a week by week basis. It's ran like a Seth MacFarlane cartoon. Yes, it's the same characters, but each episode is its own universe with its own backflashes and flashbacks and things like that. It's ran like that. Yeah, one week they're a tag team, the next week they're fighting each other. The week after that, they're fighting each other. The next week they're a tag team, but one gets hurt. The week after that, they're not wrestling anyone. Then the week after that, even though he's hurt, the tag team is back and they're wrestling a new tag team that should be the veterans, but the veterans can't do anything because they got to look like idiots too, because if the veterans outshine the idiots, then it exposes their business as they expose the business by doing what they do. So then one of them gets jumped. Why? Who knows? Don't know why the person got jumped by that person. And then after that person gets jumped, they don't necessarily seek revenge. They just come out and talk about it. And then someone else gets jumped. But why? Who knows? Did they have any dealings before? Doesn't matter. We're going to fight. When are we going to fight? After we talk and someone else gets jumped? It's just, they don't have to listen because the trolls and people that just don't like WWE feed it to them. And then you've got people that watch because they want to see the train wreck. How horrible is it? I'm going to say this. Watch it online for free. Don't use a paid subscription. Don't find it online for free. There is no need to sit there and pay to watch this. That's how I see it. You know, I don't watch WWE. I don't watch AEW. And honestly, at points, I want to, just to get some wrestling in. But now, the site that we use, not giving it up, but the site we use, they got a lot more Japan stuff. You know? And the things that turned us off to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And they want the G1 Climax Burnout. That was epic. But New Japan are doing things that are, in a small sense, AEW, like they've been doing it for a while. All of 2020, they did it. Once they got back in, they did it. Nothing made sense. People that should have won don't win. Those that you know should win won't win. And those that you can tell in their heart, you can look it on their face, they don't want to win, but they do win. And they do win without effort in a very long 15 or 20 minute long match. It's stuff like that. If your heart ain't in it, it shows. When you care, it shows. When you're angry, it shows. When you're thinking and calculating, it shows. People can see this. So, with this happening, the elite in All Elite Wrestling are not going to change because honestly, 3/4 of them, they are the outlaw mud show type. Run 1,000 miles a minute, no headlock, no basics, no nothing. And if you do see a headlock or something, it's only just for like maybe 3 to 4 seconds. Because when you think about it, when you were a kid watching wrestling, if you ever saw a headlock, a wear down hold, get him on the mat from behind with that rear chin lock, you got a little bored. Now they don't do that. Instead, they just lay on the mat for a long time. They lay on the floor for a long time. The differences, the changes, sudden, instant, so instant, it wasn't gradual, so you just see it. So, you know, why the elite do not listen to the veterans? Because they don't have to. The veterans can shout all they want, they can be mad all they want, but it's not their money, and the veteran isn't running the show. Someone that is roughly the same age, if not younger than the elite, is running the show. And they like to see that crazy stuff just as much as the elite do. And the elite are going to hire people that they worked with like crazy on the independent scene trying to make a name for themselves. So people that really don't deserve to be in that wrestling ring, that thing that used to be so hallowed, that thing that was so sacred, that people paid bills, took care of families, helped the sick, took care of each other like a brotherhood, even if they were females, sisterhood. You know, that thing. They've desecrated that. That's how I see it. They won't see it that way because they do what they want to do and they just want to have fun without thinking about the damage that they keep doing. And it can all be reversed. But they won't, because this is where they are. There are solutions. There are. But nobody's going to listen to it. Nobody's going to do it. And nobody's going to boast it. The solutions are out there, but no one's talking about it. You know, and the ones that's not talking about are the ones that can actually influence me. I just get on average 3 to 4 views. So you want solutions from me, request it and I'll talk about it, and it's not going to take a damn month. I'm going to start doing these as soon as I get them. That's what I'm going to do. Not to get them out the way, but to make sure I stick with it. Because you ask questions and you deserve answers. It's that simple. And I want you to ask questions, but I'm going to take all this time to answer, and that's not right. That's not fair. So I'm going to be better. And that's my promise. And if I don't, I'm definitely going to do something on why I don't. But then again, I should just do it on the whole subject. So there you go. Break the circle. Do better. Be better. That's what I'm going to do. Anyway, Zemo times 2, and anyone else out there, I hope that I've answered your question. I hope that you can forgive this longevity between when you asked and me answering. I hope you can do that. And I hope you don't mind the weed whack if you can hear it. Yeah, that's coming from a different spot. It's coming like from behind me. I don't see anything, but I know. In any case, looking out my window. Anyway, I hope that I can be better. And I hope that I haven't lost anybody. The last part of 2020 has not been good, and this opening of 2021 is a continuation of that, because the year changes doesn't mean anything else is going to change. It just simply means the sun rose another day. We're the only ones that care about a year, because the year ain't even 2021. It's actually probably billion something. You know, recorded history isn't actually the actual time limit. In any case, that was Cedric was here, but this has been Cedric for CR Wrestling Commentary, answering viewers. Thank you for your time, patience, energy, and all that. Please check out Aspiration, www.tinyurl.com/crbanking. Do better, be better, and learn how to invest without the crony, stingy greed and lies and cheating that other banks do. Bank better. Simple as that. That said, thank you for listening. Good night, everyone.